For the time being, and announced the theory that the culprit might have been to make it solve the riddle of the epitaph. Uncle Hideyoshi looked like he was really interested, but Aunt Natsuki thought it was ridiculous. Of course! To think about it that way, even the letter from yesterday makes sense. Amon seems to play pretty well with the facts. Not a sign whoever it was that gave Maria-chan the letter.
Ew. Beatrice exists. Ew.
Even though she was puffing up her cheeks in the cute way she had been doing it since yesterday, I couldn't think of it as cute. If I took it lightly, it might suddenly transform into a creepy laugh. The hidden goat doesn't exist. However, the idea that we have a cupboard who foolishly believes otherwise, wants father's gold, and whose motive is to make us solve the riddle and then steal the gold from us, does indeed make some sense. Having that case, why did they kill those most highly ranked in the Ushiromiya family first? A good point. You want us to make it solve the riddle, killing those clothes of Kinzo-san doesn't sound like a good plan to me. I agree. Besides, we followed that argument. Wouldn't it have been quicker if they had threatened father in the first place? You think it would be faster just as the person who wrote it rather than try to force us to solve it? That's also a good point. Of course, I don't think father will let it slip from an ordinary threat. Everyone knows Kinzo-san would be sure to be aware that he won't bow to ordinary threats. He's the man who bears the burden of the Ushiromiya family and all of its wealth. It is because he was able to overcome them that the family prospers today. How do you agree on that? Can't imagine grandfather letting himself get pushed around just because some asshole threatened him. Jessica, this is not how we talk. Yes. In that case, what about this one? No, wait. Is this out there as well? I couldn't hesitate. Crazy idea is like a bow and arrow. Might be hard to hit with, but it's a great weapon that can strike enemies from afar. Research shows that most people who have died in battles were killed by wounds from arrows. In battle, you don't shoot off just one arrow. You shoot off a whole bunch of arrows at once and assault the enemy soldiers with a wall of them. You'll shoot them over and over. Assault the truth with a wall. The coverage after the hidden goat would be very efficient for them to force us to solve the riddle. Asking the person you made in the first place would be much quicker and easier. In that case, the question is this all a message directed at grandfather? In other words, these murders were a threat directed at grandfather. If he didn't tell the culprit where the gold was, his family members would be killed off one by one. What if we weren't the only ones being forced to solve this riddle? What if grandfather was too? Thinking about it that way, explain grandfather's mysterious disappearance. Whoever attacked grandfather, judging by the state the 6 bodies were left in, would definitely have been slayed somewhere with that horrible makeup added. Despite that, we still hadn't found him. Did that mean grandfather had been kidnapped, was being held somewhere? How could? You're saying, how could? That sounds interesting. So father's being confined somewhere. And being threatened that if he doesn't tell them the location of the gold, he will be killed off one by one. I sure don't understand what you find interesting about that. Aunt Natsui threatened her, but Auntie Eva just smiled calmly. We haven't seen him after all this time. I think it's almost certain that grandfather has gotten caught up in that crime. You think about it, you can't just ignore Batola-kun's theory, right? Stay quiet, George. In the first place, when exactly was that father went missing? When was the last to see father? It was probably me. This morning when we were worried that we didn't know where my husband and rest were, we were talking about how they might be in father's study. I went to check his room and greeted him. I'm thinking, but I've been holding the key to his study the whole time, haven't I? Genji, let me return this to you. And Nachi pulled out the gold key and handed it to Genji-san. Looking at the key, Auntie Eva giggled. Hey, Genji-san. I'm sure the police would inspect father fume thoroughly anyway. Doesn't matter what you hide, it will just be exposed anyway. So, you might as well just tell us about it right here now, don't you think? What are you talking about? It's simple. Don't forget, father studies a locked room with no way in or out except for that key. I want to double check how that's being defined. There's only one entrance to father's study. And also the windows. Any other entrances or exits? There are none. There's no way in except for the entrance. You sure about that? There isn't some secret hidden door or anything. His father's in here. I'm the highest-ranked member of the Ushiromiya family. I'm asking you as a representative of the Ushiromiya family head. Do you have the ring? No. Well, you aren't the head then. Shut the fuck up. Understand that and answer me. Are there any ways in or out of that room other than main entrance? As far as this goes 8, I'm sure you know. And actually looked a little offended at the part about the highest-ranked family member. She kept her mouth closed with that being and waited for Genji's answer. I couldn't help but feel a bit uncomfortable. Why was she going on and on about hidden doors? You too, Kanon-kun, Kumasawa-san. If you know, won't you tell me? If there is one, it would be better you said so. If there isn't, then someone's going to be very much driven into a corner in a second. Given that there's a hidden door, then my arm comes to nothing. And Eva didn't specify which person was about to be driven to a corner. Following the flow of the conversation, I had a feeling she was referring to Aunt Natsui. Mother? What are you talking about? George, stay quiet for a second. What do you say? Genji-san. Kanon-kun. Kumasawa-san. Is there a hidden door? Or not? Genji-san, when you remodeled your father's study, you must have overseen the construction. I won't let you say you don't know. There's nothing of that nature in Master's study. You're sure? Oh, Ken couldn't entrusted the one-winged eagle. Yes, I'm sure. There's nothing like a hidden door in the Master's study. Kumasawa-san? No! I haven't heard of such a thing. What about Dr. Nanjo getting closer relationship with father? I have never heard of something like that. Great. And are you ready? Let me begin. Also, didn't we talk earlier about how it was a bad idea to try and expose the killer? Why the fuck would you do? And weren't you the one who suggested it was a bad idea? Really suspicious. It's really simple. Everyone tilted their head doubtfully, wondering what Aunt Eva was so proudly starting to talk about. Aunt Eva laughed triumphantly, as though she were about to reveal a secret that only she knew. Natsuhi-san was the last person to spot father, right? I forget the exact time, but I think it was a little before 9 in the morning. Yes-san, you remember. I ran into you just as we were coming out of father's study, right? Yes, I remember. What does that have to do with anything? And the next time you went to visit father's study, that was after we had found the bodies of Nissan and the rest, right? Apparently me, you went up to the study to report that, and we discovered that he wasn't there. By the way, Nissan, at the time when you went to enter your father's study, did you notice anything? Notice anything? What are you talking about? Come on. You picked up some trash, right? A folded receipt. I do seem to remember picking up some trash. What does that have to do with... I got that receipt when I bought some candy at a store in the airport. Eh? And Eva pulled a small bag of candy out of her handbag. The receipt from when you bought that candy? Mother, what does that receipt have to do with anything? George, listen for just a little bit longer. We have to set up someone for the fall. We can't possibly do it. Hidashi's expression was a little strict. Somehow, it seemed he understood what Aunt Eva was getting at. You really, just on a whim, you see. It wasn't out of any foresight. And I certainly wasn't planning to set up a trap for you or anything. Actually, this receipt. You remember, Nissan? Just after you met father and left, you met me, right? And that time I stuffed this up into the door to the study. So, what does that mean? Does it mean that until Nachi picked up the receipt, no one had opened the door? What? Wait a second, Auntie Eva! Taking a receipt in would be obvious. It's possible when Bear opened the door, he noticed and found it interesting and set back in the door. That also. Jessica hardly argued back. Zio didn't know what it really meant. She realized that whatever it was placing grounded suspicion on her own mother. Of course, they put the receipt up very small so no one would notice it. But even if you seen that he saw it fall, he would have no way knowing how high up the door it had been stuck, right? I checked it when Natsuki-san was taking the key out. The receipt was stuck not 1 millimeter away from where I had put it. I can't understand why you posed such a childish prank. I'll bet you were the one who did the prank in the door to my room too. Door to your room? Unpleasant talk about, so I didn't. This morning when I woke up, there were signs of some prank on the outside door, with what was probably the same red paint that was screwed across the shutter. There were some unpleasant marks as though someone had been tearing at the door. Wait, what is this? Why have you been silent about this until now? We found bodies! My apologies. Since so many horror things have happened since then, I had completely forgotten about it until just now. I don't know or care about that. I'm not talking about your door, but your father's room, okay? Have you checked that he was in the room until we made sure that he wasn't? The door wasn't opened even once. How did father get out if he didn't use the door? I don't know that. That's what I want to know. Natsuki-san. Other than you, let's check to see whether father was in his room. Last time I met Kizu-san was when we were playing chess last night. That was him just before dinner. I don't want to see him after that. I did. I gave him his dinner last night. Yes. Ken and I were with him. No, then father was definitely in his room. Not Train-san. Sounds like you found out he wasn't there. All ways in or out of the site were closed, right? Not even so, you said that you met and talked with him this morning. Can someone explain it to me? Mother and father, are you saying that Aunt Natsuki says about meeting grandfather this morning is a lie? What? Why the hell should we lie? Mom's innocent. Why the hell would she lie? Jessica, I keep telling you to watch your language. All at once, everything became confused. From across the part of the table, Aunt Eva and Aunt Natsuki confronted each other, while George and Anaki confronted Jessica. Bitsy and Eva are dead! Shut about my language! Like, I feel like it's quite clear Eva is just trying to fucking throw suspicion onto Natsuki. For no good reason. And other than to make no one suspect her. What the hell is going on? Remember, it's only up until last night that we have multiple people saying they saw him. The only one who claims that they saw father since morning is Natsuki-san. And then there's a strange fact we learned from the receipt. So, how can we connect these points together? Auntie Eva urged everyone to work their imaginations. Sure, that receipt could become an important point, but I didn't know what other point I could draw a line towards. The answer Aunt Eva was hoping for was that Aunt Natsuki had lied to make it seem as if grandfather had been in the room this morning. And Aunt Eva's mere whim had exposed that? That makes no freaking sense! Why the hell would Mom lie? There's no freaking reason to! That's what I want to know. But Jessica-chan, you can't say there's no possible reason for her to lie about father being in that room, right? You see it every once in a while in Detective Octopus, don't you? It's very confusing the time death they created an alibi. What are you talking about? I've never even heard of that! We haven't found father yet. We think about normally, it wouldn't be natural to assume that he has already been killed. In that case, we should expect to find his corpse soon. If at that point the time of death could be fake, not saying that his son would be able to create an alibi. Do you understand? Everyone. This morning, when Aunt Natsuki went to check that grandfather was there, she lied. And she moved the body to some location, disguised it to make it seem like he had just been killed there. And then she could stay with everyone else to prepare an alibi. Then she could say, I heard someone screaming. There's something, dash over there and become the first to find the body along with everyone else? Is that what Aunt Eva's saying? How preposterous! And I was nothing more than indulgent entertainment! You can only think of such an indiscreet idea because you read them all the time. Yeah! Couldn't she try to fake the time of death a little? Oh, that would be blown away in an instant once the police did their autopsy. You might have fooled the people in old books. You still think that kind of trick would fly in modern Japan? Are you insane? You think so? This morning when Dr. Nanjo looked at the corpses, he was only able to give a vague estimate of the time of death of right. Autopsy results are greatly affected by the corpse's surroundings and individual peculiarities. It's a very rough estimate with uncertainty of several hours. They're forcing the police's scientific investigation. We'll have to wait until tomorrow. Measuring the exact time depth after that, even in modern Japan, like you said, would be easy, you know. Right, Dr. Nanjo? And of course, it's usually a difficult task that requires both experience and instinct. Or there is a very high chance of mistaken diagnoses. That's a very possible misreading of just a few hours to occur. Now, for now, right? That's more than enough. It's not just a trick for the classics. It's a trick that actually works. Thank you, Carrie. Actually, Nessan, not like we want to expect you, alright? But we'll suspect you based on one person's word that could... We don't, and that's why we just want to prove that you're innocent. What is this innocence you want me to prove? This morning I definitely met with father. He told me to keep the one wing ego engraved in my heart. Are you denying that he said that too? I would definitely not permit that. I won't permit to deny that father said those words. Maybe father's body won't appear at all. The only person has been missing for 7 years before they're officially declared dead. Wouldn't that be a clever way to extend father's nearly finished life another 10 years and keep all of his wealth for yourself? I cannot abide by this! I can't abide by any more from you! I'm Ushiburo Natsui! Although I do not have the right to wear the one-winged ankle on my body, it is certainly engraved in my heart! Speaking that way to the wife of crowds, success with the head, those who were act as such in his place, absolutely disgusting! Oh, what's this? Are you gonna shoot me with that gun? Go ahead then. Why don't you just shoot? You're just desperate because you can't think of a way out, aren't you? Do it, just try to obscure the truth with violence! You! It is only, and Nazi had actually been only done at the ready and threatening anyone. But after he told to by Aunt Eva, she did hold it at the ready. Unsurprisingly, once things got to say, Jessica and Genji-san tried to stop her. Madame, please calm yourself. Mom, you aren't lying! So there's no reason for you to listen to this. Calm down, Natsui-san. Don't you just have to swear that father was definitely in the room? I mean, that'll get rid of all the suspicion. Why are you getting so worked up over that? That's right. Natsui isn't lying. Isn't that the end of it? And I want you to explain. How did Father manage to disappear from the room? The windows were closed tight from the inside. And the door too, remember? Fury met with Father this morning. You must explain how he disappeared from this unopened door locked room scenario. If you don't, then that would mean you are a liar after all, right? How far do you plan to mock me? If you want to argue back, go ahead. That's right, try explaining it here, right now. After that, I can apologize for doubting you. How did Father manage to get out from that locked room? I can't explain that, and I don't need to. Really? Then let me explain it. I'll take the best parts of my perspective and yours and come up with a more friendly explanation. I believe that, like you said, Father was still in this room this morning. But the next time the doors opened, Father wasn't there. You don't have any objections so far, right? I have no desire to listen to anything more you have to say. Shut your frivolous mouth! My reasoning goes like this, alright. I verified on both occasions that you were the only one to go through that door. And the receipt is proof of that. So what is the answer to the puzzle of how Father was sent out of the room regardless? The window! He was sent out the window! Natsui-san, you pushed Father out the third story window to set into the courtyard! You vicious malcontent! Madame, please endure it. Eva-sama, please stop this. Father died from the fall into the courtyard. And when you left saying you were going to check the doors and windows, you went and hid the corpse somewhere. That was probably when you took some measure to fake the time of death, right? There's all eyes on the case regarding Kraus. He's sat on the rest. Also the case regarding Beatrice last night. There's an extremely good chance that Natsu is suspicious in those cases. Only when I want to say this. But now it's out in the open, there's nothing else I can do. Please, Natsu-san. Please say now you can be innocent. Perhaps I can't help but suspect you. Why me? Why was I, Ushiguro Miyanashi, being insulted like this? Everyone's has said their piece. No good. No goddamn good at all. Auntie Eva. What do you mean no good, Valor? Does he look up at me, hanging on to my every word? Aunt Eva's expression was composed as always. No good at all, you say? What is? Butler-kun. Tell me. You only see this from one angle. That's why your insight has to be Aunt Natsui. I like defending her, but looking at checkmate like that isn't gonna work. I think the theory based around that receipt is passable. Not a bad thread of logic. I only give that a grade of 65 at best. This rare exam, that'd be bad enough to get you extra lesson detention, you know? Oh my. Well, how do you break through a door sealed by receipt and make father disappear, other than by my theory? Theory is interesting, I admit. And if we could state definitely that there was no way to make grandfather disappear other than yours, we could say for certain that the last person to see him, and Natsu, has to be responsible. However, since there is still a possibility that she's innocent and that these accusations are false, you can't make that claim. Then Butler-kun, what are you saying here could have made grandfather disappear other than Natsui-ne-san? It would be impossible for anyone else to do it. My receipt proved that, right? From the first time she entered that study, and at the same time when we visited together, the study was a perfect locked room, and when the seal was broken on the locked room, she was already missing. This doesn't prove that she was a culprit. What kind of trick could they have used? Like I said, Auntie Eva, only 65 points. So, let's try flipping over the chessboard, shall we? How about how they managed to make grandfather disappear from the outside? You know how grandfather disappeared from the inside. The door had a receipt stuck in it, so it couldn't have been used. You also couldn't have gone through a window because they can't be locked from the outside. And when you visit the study, you check to make sure they were locked. No, the windows also weren't used. At that point, the study really was a locked room. You have to accept this. However, the study didn't remain a locked room forever. Once the seal created by the receipt was removed, it became possible to use the door, possible to escape through the door. In other words, it's not about how Natsu made grandfather disappear. You need to think about how he was able to escape. Grandfather's study is an ordinary study, right? According to Genji-san, there's a toilet and a kitchen and even a bedroom, almost like a little house. Under the bed, for example, you could trick you thinking he disappeared, right?
おばさんたちは部屋からいなく、エヴァおばさん
And Eva,
そこまで調
you
べて
didn't check that carefully, did you?
そして
The two of you went back down the stairs saying that he wasn't there.
階下へ戻る。この時レシートはも
The
う
time
な
the
い。
receipt was already gone.
つまり
In other words, grandfather was hiding in his room the whole time when he was locked when it was a locked room.
エヴァおばさん
And
たちを
escaped
や
after
り過
letting
ご
his
し
two
た
get
後
past
に部
him.
屋か
He
ら
cracked
脱出
this
する
locked
ことで
room right open.
この密室を破ることができる。
何よそれ。
What is this?
どう
Not
して
what
お父様が
grandfather
そ
would
ん
do
な
something
妙
that
な
weird
ことを
and
して
then
部屋を
escape the
抜け出さな
room.
きゃならないの？口頭無形にも程があるわよ。
Don't be absurd.
ああ、口頭無形か
Yeah,
な。
might be absurd.
だが
However, it still shows that there's a lawsuit that Aunt Nazi is being
夏代おば
accused
さんが濡れ衣
falsely.
かもしれない可能性は示してる。エヴァおばさんのレシートは
The receipt
完
wasn't
璧じゃねえ。チェスで言
In
え
chess, we
ば
might call that
チェ
check.
ックくらいにはなったろ。だが
It isn't
チェック
checkmate.
メイトじゃねえ。そして
The thing I
俺
like
が
that I
最
like the
高に気
least.
に入らねえのはそれを
That you
夏代お
pressure
ばさ
Aunt
んに
Nazi to
釈明
explain
しろ
and
と
then
す
argue
る
that if she doesn't, she must be guilty.
それができなきゃ黒だって断定しようとしたエヴァおばさんのその論法、それがまかり
That
通る
has a logic, then why don't you let
この
me
後ろ宮バトここでもう一
flip
回
over the chessboard
チ
one
ェス
more
盤をひっくり
time?
返させてもらおう。エヴァおばさん、
And Eva, according to your argument,
あんたの論法によるならよ、あんたと
you must explain to us here and now why you and Uncle Hideyoshi couldn't kill those 6 last night, then casually returned to the guest house.
のこのことゲストハウスに帰ったんじゃないってことをこの場で釈明してもらわなくちゃならねえぜ。夏代おばさんに
I'm trying to
釈
force
明を
Aunt
しろ。
Nazi to explain.
あんたに
I'm
は
sure you can
も
prove
ちろ
your
ん
own innocence, right?
自身の潔白を釈明できるんだろうな。じいさまの遺
And
産
Eva,
が
who's had all
全部転がり
grandmother's
込
wealth
む
suddenly
エヴァお
dropped
ばさん
right into
よ。
her hands. That's right.
エ
You're
ヴァおば
pretty
さ
damn
んだって
suspicious
十
yourself,
分
aren't
怪
you?
しいじゃねえかよ。母さんがじいさまの最
You
終
see
目的
monsters
者
is
だと
because
怪しい
she
って言
was
うな
last
ら
person to see him.
エヴァおばさんだって父
How
さ
about
ん
you
たちの
and
最終目
Eva
的者じ
was
ゃない
last
か。
person to see Dad and the rest?
バトラーの言う
Just
通
like
りだぜ。
Bella said, prove that you
自
two
分
were
た
the
ちが
ones who
殺し
killed
てないって
them.
ことを証明してみせろよ。
僕も
Mother,
お
I
母さ
also
んの
think
推
the
理は
receipt was a
少
little
し勇み足だ
overeager.
と思うな。レシートの件
I'm
は
sure the receipt was an
確か
important
に重要
hint.
なヒントだと思う。でもそれは
But like
バトラ
Balakun
君の
said,
言う通り
that's not enough to prove that
夏
Aunt
代おば
Nazi
さ
is
んが
guilty to
何
any
がしかの
degree.
犯人であることを断定できるものじゃない。僕たちは等
They're
し
all
く
equally suspicious.
全員が容疑者なんだ。夏代おばさん
Not
だけ
only
が責められる道
right
理
for
は
Aunt,
ない。
Aunt Nazi to be persecuted.
誇り高きお父
Our
様
noble
が
father crying on the
床
floor
に這い
under
つ
his
くばって
bed.
ベッドの下に。そんな誰事
You
で
call
説
nonsense
明が
like
つ
that
く
an
と思って。
explanation?
それならエ
And
ヴァ
why
お
don't you
ばさん
explain
に
yourself
説明しろよ。
first?
特によ。
Who
誰
killed
が
those
どう
six
や
and
って
how?
殺して、
And then try
そ
showing
して
us
自
proof
分が
that you
関わっ
weren't
ていないという
involved.
証拠を示してみろってんだ。
Jessica? 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 Please tell me she just got overexcited. My
お
lady.
嬢様。
My lady. Jessica suddenly started coughing. At first I thought she was just choking after yelling too loud, but it seemed to be lasting too long, and she really looked like she was suffering. Jessica kept coughing and choking down on her hands and knees.
ジェシカ、しっかり。
Jessica, hang in there!
なんじゃ先生。
Dr. Nanjo!
ジェシカさん
Jessica,
吸
your
引
inhaler
器を
quick.
早く私が持ってき
No,
てい
wait,
るの
I
が
have
あ
one
り
with
ます
me. Dr. Nanjo pulled a bronchodilator inhaler from his own bag, which was lying on the sofa, and handed it to Ken-kun. I'm thinking, 6 years ago, didn't Jessica break into violent coughing after you used that? And 6 years ago, I never saw Jessica look like she was in this much pain. Aniki, was Jessica's
ジェ
asthma
シカっ
always
て
this
こんなに
bad?
喘息ひどかったっけ。ここ数年で
Gotten
だ
worse
い
these
ぶ悪
last
くな
few
ったんだよ。
years.
大丈夫な時
No
はいい
problem
ん
when
だけ
she's
どね。
normal.
突然発作
But
が
when
来
the
る
attack comes
と
suddenly, she
咳が
can't stop
止まらなく
coughing.
なるんだよ。
お嬢様、
My lady,
お薬です。
your medicine.
さあ、
Here. Taking the inhaler from Kanekun, Jessica used it with a practiced hand. For a while, it looked like her throat was still feeling itchy, but gradually settled down.
大丈夫かよ、ジェシカ。
Are you alright, Jessica?
びっくりしたぜ。
You scared me.
大したことねえよ。
No big deal.
心配すんじゃねえぞ。
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I was wondering if it was some global that was save agnostic too. If it is, that's really interesting. Beads of sweat covered Jessica's whole body and she couldn't hide her rough breathing, but it looked like her sudden attack had calmed down for now. The serums had left the room's hostile atmosphere in an awkward, unsettled state. That was fine. There's absolutely no need to be driving up everyone's suspicion of each other. When you think about it, even probing at each other's alibis and searching for the cure is probably completely unnecessary. After all, we're just powerless, ordinary people. And when at least come tomorrow, they'll definitely employ cutting-edge techniques and investigate the case thoroughly. Solve all the riddles and arrest the killer.
確かにバトラ君の言
I
う
wonder
通
if
りかし
Balakun
ら。
is right after all.
夏日姉さんが疑わしいように。
Just like not saying
私たちも
Nessan
疑わ
is
しさを
suspicious,
生
I
み出
can't
して
ignore
い
the
ない
fact that we are suspicious as well.
それを今議論し合う
Arguing
のは
about
確
that
か
now
に
is
不
certainly
明ね。
unproductive.
明日、警察に全てを
Everything
任
will
せ
be
れば
fine if
済
we
む
just
だ
leave
け
it
の
to the police
話。
tomorrow.
でも、バトラ君だって知りたいんじゃないの？
But don't you want to know too, Balakun,
犯人を。
who the killer is?
大切な人を失った痛みを思い知らせてやるために、1秒でも早く知りたいんじゃな
Don't
い？
you want to let them know right this very second the pain you feel from losing someone precious to you?
それは否定しないです。
I won't deny that.
これだけの仕
Even
事を
one day
決
would
め
be
てく
too
れ
long
や
to
が
let
った
the
野
bastard
郎
call this distasteful bullshit go
た
on.
とえ一日であったとしてものさばらしたくはない。でも
Doesn't mean I
だから
want
と
to
いって
doubt one of the 18.
18人の中の誰かを疑いたくはない。さっきはああ言ったが、俺はエヴァおば
Even
さん
though
だ
I
って
said what I
疑いた
said
くない。
earlier, I don't want to even doubt you, Auntie Eva.
俺にとってのエヴァおばさん
Me,
は
you're an awesome aunt who's always mischievous and entertaining.
いつも楽しくさせてくれる最高のおばさんだ。そんなおばさんとここにいる誰だって
A single person here
そんな
wants
こ
to
と
do
は
that.
望んでねえはずさ。だろ
Right?
みんな。
Everyone?
バトラ君に同
I feel the
じ
same as Balakun.
意味のない
One
罵
is to
り
trade
合いだ
insults.
ね。多分これだけの人数が
It's probably
朝
just
か
a
ら
stress
一と
built
こ
up
ろに
because
ず
so
っ
many
と
people
集ま
have
ってる
crammed
から
in one place since this
みん
morning.
なストレスが溜まってるんだよ。
でしょうな。
Probably.
無理もないことです。
It's only natural.
言ってできるものではありませんが、なるべく皆さんリラックスしましょう。
I think we should all relax as much as possible.
エヴァ
Eva,
わしらも
Anything we should
頭
cool
を
our
冷や
heads?
すべきとちゃうか。レシートの件は
I do
確
think
か
the
に
receipt is going to be
お
important
父
clue in
さ
terms
ん
of
の
her father's
失踪を探る
whereabouts.
上で重要な手がかりになると思うで。警察が来たら話すといいやろ。
We should tell the police about it when they get here.
そうね。
Yes, you're right.
そう。
Yes.
レシートの一件
I
で
just felt a little triumphant when I
つ
figured
い
that
鬼の
part out
首を
with
取ったよう
receipt.
な気持ちになっちゃったのね。確かに夏日姉さんだ
Of
けを
course, it
疑う
isn't
の
fair
は
to
フ
only
ェアじ
doubt
ゃない。
Natsu-san.
私たちだって等しく疑
We're
う
just as
し。
suspicious.
でもね、バトラ君。
But still, Balakun.
レシートの
At least the part
話
about
だ
the
け
receipt
は
is real.
本当よ。
Alright.
これ、
Don't
忘れない
forget
で
this. I don't believe it. It's only your word for the receipt being there beforehand.
そしてこれがどういう
I'm
意
trying
味
to
を持
think
つ
deeply about
か。
what this means,
も
okay?
う一度よく考えてみてね。
Auntie Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi stood up. Looks like they plan on leaving the parlor.
結局私たちは
In the
こんな
end,
推
it's
理
pointless
ご
for
っ
us
こ
to
して
continue
も意味
playing
はないの
detective.
よ。だってどうせ警察が
After all, the police will rule everything in the end anyway. That's right. Even if we don't play the detective game when the typhoon passes, those lively seagulls return to the harbor, everything will settle itself. Yes. Thinking about it, this kind of crime is completely trivial. It would definitely be resolved, even if we do nothing. When the seagulls cry.
これ以上
Not today,
夏日姉さんも私の
Nessan.
顔を見
I
てい
take
た
it
くは
that you
な
don't
い
want to
でし
see
ょ
my face anymore.
私も同
I
じ
feel
よ
the same.
確か姉さん
If
は
I
昨
remember
日
correctly, yesterday,
ゲス
we
ト
had
ハ
some
ウス
rooms
に
spare
帰
for
ら
us
な
in the
くて
mansion,
済
so
む
we
よ
would
う
need to
に
go back to the guest
客
house,
室を
right?
用意してくれたのよね。あそこはバスもトイレもあ
There
る
should be a
し
path and toilet there as well as a
鍵
lock
も
and
チ
chain
ェ
to
ー
secure
ン
the
もかかる。
door.
横になれるベ
There's
ッ
even
ド
a
も
bed
あ
line.
る
My
し
husband will be able to watch
主
TV
人
without
も
having to
マ
fight
リ
with
アちゃん
Maria
とチャ
Chen
ンネ
over
ル
which
争い
channel
で
to
せずに
watch.
テレビを
Okay.
見ることができるわ。お好きになさるといい
You
で
may
しょ
do as you please,
う。でも
but make sure to be
くれ
cautious.
ぐれも用心を。ありがとう。
Thank you,
姉さん
Nessan.
そして余計なお世
And
話
mind your
よ。
own business.
姉さんはみん
I'll
な
be
の
counting you to
監
keep
視
an
を
eye on
よろ
everyone.
しくね。
Alright.
犯人はこの
Because the
中
killer
に
is
必ずい
definitely
るんだ
among
から。
us.
そして姉さん
And
も
Nessan, make
自
sure you don't
分
forget
が
that you're being
監視を
watched
され
too.
ていることをお忘れなく。捨て台詞はそれで十分ですか？
Have you made enough parting remarks?
十分よ。
Yes, that is
じゃあ
enough.
ね、夏日
See you
姉
not
さ
say
ん。
Nessan.
源氏さん、夕食になってる
Genji-san,
んでね。
please come for us when it's dinner time.
それまでチェーンをかけて閉じこもってるわ。
Until then, we'll keep ourselves locked in with the chain.
源氏、カノン
Genji, Cannon,
お二人を客室まで
escort them to the
送る
guest room.
結構よ。
We'll be fine.
送りを
I don't want to end up being escorted by the killer.
むしろ
In fact, I would be
私
more
たち
comfortable
が部屋
nobody
に
left
行
this
くまで
room
誰も
until
こ
we
の
reach
部屋を出
ours.
ないでくれる方が安心よ。ジョージ行くわよ。
Let's go, George.
僕は
I'll stay here with
ここ
everyone
でみん
else.
なといるよ。
This is a really good time for them to fucking find guns. If none of us are allowed to leave or you'll be pissy, be a bit pissy, then fuck you. Like, fuck you.
ジョージ、
George,
この部屋に
the
犯
killer
人
is
が
in
い
this
るのよ。
room.
そんなところにいるつもり？
You plan on staying in a place like that?
この部屋を出るとい
In
う
this
ことは
room.
親族の
The same
誰
as
かを
suspecting one of my
疑うのと同
relatives.
じことだよ。僕は
I
あんな恐
refuse
ろ
to
しい
believe
こ
that
と
anyone in
が
our
できる
family is
人
capable
間
of
が
something so horrifying.
親族にいるなんて信じない。
ジョージ、あなたからも言ってやってよ。
Hey, say something to him.
ジョージももう一人前の男や。そのジョージの
Let's
人
go
に
tell
は
us not to leave
こ
this
の部
room,
屋
then
か
it's
ら
up
出
to
入り言
him.
わせるならそれも勝手やろ。気にさせたれ。
Let him do what he wants.
父さん、
Father. Uncle Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi left. The only voice that called after them was the sound of the rain. The parlor was being buried beneath the savage atmosphere. I looked at the clock and was surprised to find that it was already evening. We already spent that much time worrying, talking, fighting about such needless things. Feeling bored, I started clawing at my head when Maria and I made eye contact. And I thought she was simply immersed in TV. I was a little surprised.
今なら信じるぜ。
I'll believe it now.
手紙も殺
The
人も
letter, the
全て
murders, everything
ベアトリーチェの
was
仕
all
業だ。
Beatrice.
いや、
No, actually,
むしろ
I
頼
wish she
むか
would
らそう
just
だ
come
と
out
名
and
乗
say
り出
that
て
it
ほ
was
しいぜ。
that was true.
19人目
I
の
want to
仕
be
19
the
業
work
って
of
こ
a
とにさせて
19th
くれ。
person.
じゃなきゃ、
Otherwise, the 18 of us would have to
俺
keep
たち
on
18
doubting each
人は
other.
いつまでも互いを疑い合わなくちゃならねえ。これなら、
I think believing a 90th
19
person
人
is
目の
better
存
than
在を
that.
信じる方がマシさ。扉も窓も開け
Bringing
ずに
grandfather outside without opening the doors or window must be a piece of cake for
小さな
Beatrice, right?
ベアトリーチェならお茶の子さいさいなんだろう。
Maria, after taking a single short breath, hung her head and erased her face again.
そうだよ。
That's right.
魔女の前に扉の鍵なんて何の役にも立たないんだよ。ベアトリーチェは72の柱の全てに精通する。33位のガープは望む相手を望む場所に瞬時に運ぶ力を与えるし、彼女にとってどのような密室に閉じこもった人間だろうと連れ出すことは難しいことでも何でもないんだよ。
魔女はすげえな。
Which is sure incredible.
頼むから。
However, she plans to commit another crime,
事件を起こす気なら
do it in a way that no humans
絶
could.
対に人間には無理なことをして俺に銃
Make me believe that 19th person, no, a witch
魔女の存在
exists.
を信じさせてくれよ。
いいよ。
All right.
あったら
I
伝
meet
えて
her,
お
I'll
く
tell
よ。
her. Damn it. I don't understand my own thoughts anymore. I'm led to believe in a 19th person, I deny it, and when I'm led to believe there are only 18 people, I deny that too. Even not, though I wish that there were more than just the 18 people here, I can't accept the existence of that 19th person. I think Badler would come to the same conclusions as me, in that there has to be a 19th person if he knew about the ring. In short, even though there were more than 18 people, there are less than 19. Remember, this mansion is 19 greater than X, greater than 18. The number of people can't be represented by an integer. However, it's possible there to be anything other after the decimal point. You shouldn't be able to represent a number of people with anything but an integer. And yet 19 is greater than X is greater than 18. Why does a fraction less than 1 play into this? It's no wonder. That 19th person is an invisible being that can't be seen. That's why in the integer representation that must be used to describe numbers of people, she can't be seen. That which cannot be seen. Because Beatrice has no body. Therefore, she's invisible. Is there not 19th person or not? Does which exist or not? 19 is greater than X is greater than 18. That which exists somewhere that X. Hey, I wasn't surprised this time. The two who are close. The comfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. It was thick with the idea that thinking about who the killer was would be the same as deciding who to doubt. It began to feel like the discussion of the incidents was itself taboo. No one was mentioning it, at least out loud. However, those also what filled our minds. All that we couldn't say aloud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. Also, we're on chapter fucking 13. It's been almost 20 hours. So at least on the outside, the parlor had once again regained its calm mood. But everything was left unsettled. It feels like the rain's gotten lighter.
雨足が弱まった気がするね。
Ooh, まだいっぱい
Still
降って
pouring
るよ。
down.
おー
Oh.
仮にやんだって
If it did stop,
この
there's
島
no
に
boat
は
on
船
this
がねえん
island.
だしな。船が明日すぐに来てくれりゃいいんだがよ。
Be nice if the boat came quickly tomorrow.
洋館バカンさんもうお
Have
腹
enough
い
of
っ
this
ぱ
Western
いだ
Mansion
ぜ。
vacation.
母さん、
Mom, when will the boat
明日
come tomorrow?
船はいつ来るのかな。
本来なら
Urging the boat to
帰
take
りの
them back
船
would
は
have arrived
今
at
日の
3
3
o'clock
時に来て
today.
くれることになっていました先方も
They probably would have
台
telephoned
風
to
が
say
過
that
ぎ
they
て
would
から
come
出
after
直
the
すと
typhoon
電話を
passed.
してくれた
But
でしょう
unfortunately, the
が
telephones aren't
あ
working.
いにく電話は普通ですからでも向こ
But
う
they
も子供の
aren't
使いではあり
children
ま
over
せん
there.
客人の方
They
々
were
の
told this
送
was for
迎
the
目
purpose
的
of
だと
dropping
教
off
え
and
てあり
killing
ま
our
すから
guests.
おそらく明日の朝一番で
Most they
多
arrive
分
first thing
9
tomorrow
時頃
morning.
に来てくれるで
Probably
しょう
around 9 o'clock, I believe. It was completely black outside. When I looked at the clock, I realized it was just past 7. I'm trying to get hungry. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was cooking enthusiastically. She had laid out a variety of dishes, and while they didn't match the level of Goda's artful cooking, they were still quite gorgeous. It was an act of kindness from Kumasawa, trying to use food to enliven everyone's low spirits. Kumasawa wasn't nearly as talented as a professional cook like Goda, though she was far from unskilled. On the contrary, she had been brought up in a fishing village. The simple food she created was something very highly valued. Ken arranged the food Kumasawa had created and finished creating on plates under her direction. Ken also helped in the kitchen sometimes, but since he was rarely placed in the row, he was slightly awkward even though he tried his best. Self-conscious about the fact that he couldn't skillfully arrange the food, Ken's expression darkened slightly. Kumasawa smiled to say everything was fine. It's arranged beautifully. Kanon-kun, you're skillful. If it had been Shannon-san, it would have been even more beautiful. Ken stopped arranging the food for a bit and hung his head. Shannon was the one who always assisted Kumasawa in her cooking. Tonight, Ken was doing it instead. And as he remembered Shannon's face and her brutal end, he grimaced. Forget it for now. Genji spoke kindly to Ken as he advanced the pond. After he escaped from the bar, once mood had become sour, and Genji had become his opponent in a game of chess upon Nanjo's request. Yes. I will forget it for now. Good. That is probably for the best. Genji purposely faced away from Ken as he spoke. He did so because he understood that it might make things tougher on Ken if he noticed that someone was looking at his eyes. Nanjo also understood that and held it back any thoughtless words. I wonder where Kinzo-san is gone. Hope that he is safe, but I do not know. What? Only, I think everything is as the master hoped, as he had arranged. It shows that would exceed my role as furniture working for the master. Aren't you scared, Genji-san? I'm frightened that something bad will occur again tonight. I have nothing to be afraid of. I say work for the Ishiro Miya family. Nanjo sighed through his nose and made a carefully considered move. Nanjo was very slightly dubious. Only slightly? Did Genji possibly think that he would be left out of this? He couldn't begin to imagine what was happening inside this mansion. He definitely couldn't deny the possibility that it was something of Kinzo's design. Relying on this island chest, Kinzo opened the game and as a result, 6 pieces had fallen. Ooh. Could it be that Genji was calm because he believed that he alone was outside the chessboard and safe? Nanjo thought about it. Nanjo thought about it. Wasn't everyone just a piece on this chessboard lined up equally without any exceptions? Wasn't Genji who had gained more of Kinzo's trust than anyone? No, it wasn't Nanjo himself, though probably his mission as Kinzo's only close friend. Wasn't there a piece on the next to one of the pieces laid out on the board?
Genji-san.
Genji-san? Really frightened about tonight.
I think we should be safe when tomorrow morning comes.
The guest room that Eva and Hideyoshi moved into was used to house guests before the guest house had been constructed. So until a few years ago, they had stayed in this room every family conference and were very familiar with it. This room, just like a room at a hotel, had a bedroom and a bathroom. Even though they were still shut in, it was far more comfortable than the parlor. That's true, you can relax more when you're alone with your immediate family. So I'll do just that. Someone's out in the guest room and lock the doors.
夏日姉さんが客間を出るなって威張り散らしてるんだもん。
The Natsume-san's throwing her weight around, saying that no one can leave the parlor.
誰も口答え
How can any of them
できな
talk
いでしょ
back?
あの人
So he saw she was being left out in the coach now that Nissan's dead. She's a nice spirit saying your time has finally
やっと
come.
喧嘩が来たって張り切ってんのよ。まったく
Seriously, how shameless can she be?
まあそういう
Come now, don't say that.
夏日さんもあれで
Natsuki
結構頑
son's
張っ
working
とるん
pretty
や
hard.
でお前もそう突っかからんでもええやないか
No need to jump on her like that.
さっきのレシートの件もあそこまでは言い過
Saw
ぎ
the
や
receipt
で
earlier. Went too far there.
だ
Aw, come on.
あそこで言わ
If
な
I
かっ
hadn't
た
said
ら
it there, there wouldn't be
もう
another
言
good
う
time
タ
to
イ
say
ミン
it.
グがないんだもん
Eva, soaking cutely, sat beside Hideyoshi, who was lying on the bed watching TV.
こ
Still,
うして二人きり
it's been
に
a
な
very
るの
long
は
time
ずい
since
ぶ
we've
ん
been alone
久し
like
ぶ
this.
りよね
そうやな
Sure has.
思
Sure
えば
has. I think about it, both you and I have gotten older.
老けたジョージが生まれてから
George's run, everything's gone by in the blink of an eye.
あっという間や
本当にあっ
It
と
really
いう間
has gone by in the blink of an eye.
子供を作るの焦りすぎたかしら
I wonder if we were too hasty in having a child. Eva's eyes looked like they were staring off into the distance. Yes, she had thought about a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Her older brother Krauss had been unable to have a child for quite some time. Six years passed after his marriage to Natsuki without any signs of pregnancy, which didn't please Kinzo at all. As for Eva herself, she would be removed from the Ishiguro-miya register anyway once she got married, so whether a successor to the head was born or not, it was all the same to her. So she had thought. But then one day, she had a heavenly revelation. Maybe it was the whisperings of the devil that she had heard in her greed. Perhaps she could remain the Ishiguro-miya register if she gave birth to a successor first? If things went well, perhaps she could even inherit the Ishiguro-miya family herself. When she proposed this to Hideyoshi, he approved of it instantly. His not begun Hideyoshi had also had greedy thoughts. For Hideyoshi, who had no close relatives, it was a chance for him to feel once more than that long-forgotten thing called family. So he agreed, without hesitation, not to fuss over which family name they were to keep upon getting married, consented to having his family entered the Ishiguro-miya family register. It wasn't easy to persuade Kinzo, but as his daughter, Eva knew Kinzo's personality well. Those who chose that time when Kinzo was most distasteful with Natsui, and expertly managed to make him accept Hideyoshi as a son-in-law. Looking at Hideyoshi, who had achieved success after starting from nothing, Kinzo might have seen a bit of himself. He greatly grew to like Hideyoshi, permanently transferring the Ishiguro-miya register. George would eventually become the successor to the Ishiguro-miya family. They erased him strictly with that purpose in mind. Wow, that fucking sucks. George had been worth their while and had grown to a fabulous young man who wouldn't disappoint no matter where he went. That's why she couldn't stand that he was in love with a servant like Shannon. But when she had learned that Shannon had died and the engagement had been invalidated, a part had been shocked at the gruesome crime. The other part of her had been relieved that her precious George wouldn't be stolen by some servant girl. Ow, fuck you.
私クラウス兄さんのことが
Always did hate
昔から
Krauss
嫌いだったわ
Nissan.
偉そうで威
He
張
was
って
so
て
full of himself, always swaggering about.
自分がやがて
They'll probably
は
one
当
day
主に
become
な
the
る
head.
んだと自慢しててだから
So I
そ
want
れ
to get
に
back
一
at
矢
him.
報いてやりたかったでもそれは子供の頃の感情なんだ
a child, of course.
でもその
In
感
the
情
end, those emotions took over my entire life.
自分の人生のほとんどを支配したそれだけならまだいい
And if only that had been all.
その感情は
Because of those emotions got you and
あな
George
た
and
や
all
ジョー
kind
ジ
of
ま
used
で
to you.
巻き込んで振り回してしまった
エヴァ
Eva,
備え
Don't blame
自
yourself
分
so
を
much.
責めるな
Hideyoshi sat up and put his arms around Eva. She could feel a warm understanding from him.
わしはな自
Well, I reached the halfway point in my life long
折り
ago.
返しに入っとるでもな今日ま
You
で
know,
の
I
生
never
活
once regretted how I
を
lived
後
my
悔
life.
したことは一度もないで一度もや
Not once.
エヴァと一緒で
I think that since I've been with you, Eva, I never realized and enjoyed my life that other men never will.
人生になったと思う戦争で身寄りを失ったわしにもう一度家族
After I lost my relatives in the war, he
教
taught
え
me
てくれた
once more what warmth of a family felt like.
だから後ろ宮の家には感謝しとるし。
So I'm grateful there's your only family. Think of it as my own family.
わしとお前が歩んできた人生に
This life I've led with you, not a single thing
無駄なことなんか
has been wasted.
なかった。今日までほんまに
Really been a fun life up to
人
today.
生やったね。
ありがとうあなた。
Thank you, honey. You feel hunger had burning your face into Hideyoshi's chest. Probably, no one in the parlor could ever even imagine that this idea existed.
感謝するのは
The one who should be thanking you.
今日までお前と一緒に
This day there hasn't been a single day I've regretted being with you.
私もよ。
Me too.
あなたと
I'm
一
so
緒に。
glad to have you by my
よ
side.
かった。
Which of you two or both of you is gonna fucking die?
ジョージももう
Orange is already a fine adult.
わしが見張って
He's a man who can do his job well on his own,
しっかり
if
仕
I'm
事
not there
が
looking
で
out
き
for
る
him.
一人前や。で
How about it?
正月あたり
How New Year's you want to spend some time in the Mao dives?
わしら二人
Does us
水
two?
入らずや。
No one else.
いやよ。
No way.
毎年
Are you always saying you're too
年賀
busy?
状の
You're
返
spending New
礼で寝
Year's
る暇も
cards
な
that
い
you don't
と
even
か言ってる
sleep?
じゃない。
次の正月だけ
Oh,
は
that
な
this
し
New
や。
Year's?
年賀状はみん
I won't read New Year's.
黙って下
I
の
just
お
like
年
Ryan
玉
check to
く
see
じ
if
だけチェックするん
I
や。
won the New Year's lottery.
今年はカラーテレビくらい当てたいで。
I mean, sure nice you won a color TV this year.
やだ。
No way.
モルジブでお年
I don't
玉
want
く
to
じ
check
の
the
チェ
lottery
ック
in
なん
the
てしたく
Mao
ない
dive.
じゃあそいつ
And
も
none of
な
that
しや。
either.
水いらずのんびりでジョージが生まれる直前
Because
の
the two of us take our
新婚時
time
代
carrying
の
on
続
from
きを
when we were
ちょっとしたん
newlyweds.
か。
That's before George was born. Yeah.
それならいいわね。
That does sound nice.
モルジブはええ。
Well, the Mao dives are wonderful.
なんもない島に美しい
There
サン
was
ゴ
nothing on it, surrounded by
水上コ
beautiful,
テージが並んでて
beautiful
な
coral reefs and cottages lined up over the water.
新婚時代の続き
Carrying on from where we were
いつから
newlyweds. When will that be?
仕事納めしたらすぐや。旅行店に
Oh,
聞
I
いてみ
finished
て
some
わ
business?
からんが
I won't even
多分
go on to our guest traveling season, but probably before New Year's Eve.
いや
No way.
今
Right
すぐ
now?
がいい
I want to start right now. Peevishly, or maybe Eva pled for his lips. Only time to fill the room with a distant voice of the announcer on the news, which Hideyoshi had left on, and the innocuous pounding of the rain against the window. There's a knock on the door, and Genji-san entered.
奥様
But,
お夕食の
dinner
準
has been
備が
prepared.
整いましたお食事は
Will you eat in
ま
here
た
again?
こちらでよろしいですか
Yes.
ここへ運ばせなさい。
Bring it here.
南條先生はまだ
Is
厨
Dr.
房にい
Nanjo
る
still
の
in
で
the
すか？
kitchen?
はい
Yes.
次の
He
一
said
手
that he
を
wishes
熟
to
考
carefully
したいと
deliberate
お
over
っ
his
しゃっ
next
ており
move.
ますご安心を
Don't worry,
他
he's
の
with the
使用
other
人た
servants.
ちとご一緒です
源氏さんはじい
He
さま
sounds
の
good
相
enough
手
at
が
chess
で
to
き
be
るくらい
grandfather's
チェス
opponent.
が強いもんな。南條先生よりも
I hear he's
強い
even
らしい
better than
ぜ。
Dr. Nanjo, you know?
そうなんだ
Is that right?
昔
I played
相
against
手
him
を
long
して
ago,
も
but
ら
he
っ
must
た
have
こ
let
と
me
がある
win.
けどあれは勝たせてくれたのかな
マリア、もうすぐ
Hurry up!
飯だそう
Sounds
だ
like it'll
ぜ
be。time to eat soon.
しかし、
Look at
よく
you.
一
You've
日
been
中
watching
テレビ
TV
を
all
見て
day
いて
long and
飽
you're
きねえ
selling
な
on board.
いつもテ
I'm
レビい
always
っぱい
watching
見てる
TV,
から
so I'm
平気。
fine.
え
Eh?
マリア
Mary
ちゃん
Chan sure
は
is a
テレビ
TV
っ子なん
kid.
だね
Shh.
食事だから。
It's coming, so we have to clean up the
片付け
table.
ないとダメだぜ。
It was still cluttered from with the aftermath of the drawing contest we had all been having, using several pages torn out of Maria's notebook. Jessica began cleaning that up quickly. So, everyone here sure can draw. Really shocking. Genji. Ask Eva-san and Hideyoshi-san whether they would at least like to have dinner with us. Although they would probably turn us down. Certainly. First father, now Eva-san.
つくづく後ろ宮家の食卓には全員が揃いませんね。
You seem capable of managing Foshong, the Ishiguro Miya dinner family. Natsuki felt her headache start throbbing again, and lightly held her temples. The distance from the kitchen to the parlor wasn't that large. Genji had gone there and back by himself. The guest room was a little farther away. Natsuki had warned him not to go alone without good reason. Just now, Nanjo had also admonished him, saying that it would be better if he held a little more concern for his own safety. Genji took Kanon with him, and the two went to visit Eva, and Hideyoshi in the guest room. Genji knocked on the door. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, dinner has been prepared. He waited a short while for them to come out, but there was no response. Genji-sama. Look at this. There's another fucking symbol. Genji pointed under the door. A Western-style envelope had been inserted under it. Maria, what's that in your Etch-a-Sketch? Ew, it's a demon roulette! Ew, ew, ew! Normally, when something was inserted this way, it would be interpreted as a message from someone outside as someone in the room. This might be a private note meant for Eva and Hideyoshi. Eva and Hideyoshi was not something that Kanon and Genji were supposed to take interest in. This wasn't inside an envelope. It was Kinzo's envelope, same as the one Maria had taken out last night and surprised everyone with. There is no mistake. It's the master's envelope. Or... Although it had been Kinzo's envelope, the author of the letter Maria had read out loud had not been Kinzo. Genji continued knocking a little harder and called out in a loud voice. Eva-sama! Eva-sama! This is Genji! Are you dead? Please answer me, Eva-sama! But there was no response from the other side. Sometimes when the servants went to call some guests for a meal, the guests would be sleeping so deeply they wouldn't wake up. Sometimes these servants take a letter on the door to show that they had been called and then leave the guests be. However, despite that, Genji beat even harder on the door and called out Eva's name. But there's no answer. Kanon stuck his ear up to the door and holding his breath to listen for any sounds coming from the inside. I hear something that sounds like the television. I don't sense anyone. The room might be empty. Genji took out a handkerchief and, careful not to touch it with his bare hands, gently pulled out the envelope which had been stuck under the door. It had been sealed with a deep red sealing wax. Without doubt, the mark of the sealing wax had come to the Ushiguro Miya family head's ring. Eva-sama! 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 Please answer! Are you still in your room? Even so, there was still no answer. There was a chance that the two were aimlessly walking around the mansion. This was the home Eva had grown up in. There was plenty of reason to think she had gone out on a casual stroll. Genji groped around in his pocket and pulled out a bundle of keys, including the one that would open the guest room. Genji-sama! Genji-sama? Ken also understood what this meant. They would sometimes allow a guest room so they could go in and out and do things like make the bed, only after they made sure the guest was out. Not locking the door for a separate reason, expected to do so when there was a chance the guest was still in there and without their permission, was an action unbecoming of a servant. However, Genji had decided. Well, the only problem had been his not having received a reply, he wouldn't have gotten this far. The envelope on the door was doubtlessly Kinzo's. Or rather, one of the Western-style envelopes of the Ushiguro Miya family head. And after last night, the sender of this envelope could be someone other than Kinzo. This letter had been sent by someone other than Kinzo. Eva-sama! My apologies. Allow me to enter your room. After giving that final notice, Genji stuck one of the keys from the bottom of the keyhole. There was a sound of the door unlocked, and then he slowly turned the knob and slowly started opening the door. Light seeped through the crack of the door. Were they in the room? Or had they forgotten to turn out the lights? Clang. The sound of the door chain being pulled tightly. Chain had been secured. Chain couldn't be secured from the outside. That meant they were in the room now. The sound of the voice of the TV seeped out of the room. Lights, the chain, the TV. All these made clear they were in the room. But there was no sign of them. Genji called Eva-sama once again through the crack of the door. There's no answer. Genji-sama, what should we do? As part of the job, the servants were able to unlock almost any door in the mansion. They had no way to open a door with a chain. The only way to get by the chain was to cut it. But certainly not permitted as part of the servants' usual work. Creepy chill was already rushing up their backs. Ken held his breath again and tried to send someone through the door. Even so, he's not able to sense anyone. I will call Madame. Cannon, cut the chain. Yes. As Cannon rushed away hurriedly to get a kunku, he was caught back by Genji. Wait, Cannon. Go back to the kitchen and take Kumasawa with you. What you do not act alone. Yes, certainly. It looked like Ken was wondering why he had to do something so troublesome in the middle of this urgent situation. But Genji had said it out of wariness. He didn't care what happened to himself. In the worst case scenario, he didn't want anything to happen to Cannon. Aww. In the kitchen was Kumasawa, who was piling up food on the serving carts. And Nanjo, who seemed to have thought of a move that would turn the tables on Genji and had been waiting his return, wanting to show him. But he realized something was wrong with Genji's demeanor. Oh! What has happened, Genji-san? Elder Nanjo, my apologies, but please allow me to suspend this match for a time. Cannon, take care of the chain. Kumasawa, stop setting up dinner from now on. Now on, accompany Cannon. I'll go over to Madame. You were to come with me, Dr. Nanjo? Has something happened? Genji took Nanjo, who still didn't know what was going on, and quickly left the kitchen. Kumasawa-san, my apologies, please come with me. What happened, Cannon-san? Unable to take in the situation, Kumasawa said almost exactly the same thing as Nanjo. He chased after Ken, who had flown out into the hallway. Accompanied by Kumasawa, Cannon went to the storehouse. And amongst his tools packed in toolboxes and hanging on the walls, he looked for a tool that could be used to cut the chain. What are you looking for? I will help. We're cutting a door chain. There was a large bolt cutter. A door chain? Why would you do something like that? The chain is locked to Eva-sama and Hideyoshi-sama's room. Even though they should be inside, when we called to them, they didn't answer. It took Kumasawa some time to figure out how cutting the chain and Eva and Hideyoshi not answering were connected, but she did realize that this was an urgent situation. This would probably... Anna took down a very large bolt cutter that was hanging on the wall. It was called a cutter, or maybe it would be easier to understand to describe having the shape of a large pair of pliers. You got being warned that it was dangerous good that it easily cut off one of your fingers. Anna took that and rushed up the stairs. He knew it instinctively. He'd fight for every minute, every second to open it quickly. Maybe already. Please wait, Cannon-san. Hurry. Kumasawa eventually caught up with him, gasping for air with both hands on her knees. When Cannon changed his grip on the bolt cutter and looked up at the door, he let out a ah, struck speechless. What is this? Kumasawa screamed weakly, her face pallid. That was no surprise. It's right here, on the door, just like the magic circle that had been drawn on the shutter of the Rose Garden storehouse. There was another eerie shape drawn with paint that looked like blood. However, it's dubious whether this one would be called a magic circle. Because unlike what most people think of as a magic circle, it wasn't a circle with shapes drawn inside it, but a slightly more geometrical shape. However, that strange non-alphabetical character written in the gaps of the figure were no doubt the same as the magic circle on the shutter. The thing that Cannon struck speechless was not how eerie the magic circle was. Shouldn't have given her that etch-a-sketch. God damn it! Only months ago, this hadn't been here. He returned to the kitchen for a short while. Had gone to the storehouse, grabbed a tool, and headed right back. Put those together, it could have been more than 5 minutes. How could someone add something this creepy during that period of time? Just as his thought it had been drawn, almost like the door itself was bleeding Several unsettling vertical lines slowly drip down, getting longer and longer. Kumasawa's knees gave way and she sank down on the spot. If Kumasawa hadn't done this first, then Canon surely would have wanted to. Beatrice-sama.
It's the work of Beatrice-sama. How horrid.
Canon gulped and raided the bolt cutter and approached the door. But if he didn't get close, he couldn't cut the chain. Finding this cold feeling, he gulped again after gathering courage, went even closer, putting the bolt cutter against the chain. He then pressed with all his strength and cut through the chain far more easily than he had imagined. The cut chain fell into two separate parts, which continued clanging as they swayed back and forth.
Kano-san, by your feet, an envelope. Isn't that the master's?
Like Kumasawa had also noticed the Western-style envelope at the bottom of the door, and that the wax ceiling had been sealed with a head's ring. Canon was lost for just a second over whether he should open the letter first or check inside the room. But he decided to prioritize his original purpose. Canon pulled a handkerchief out of his pocket. That was so he wouldn't have to leave fingerprints on the door. His worst fears had been realized. Police would want to investigate this room too. Slowly pushed open the door. He was able to hear the sound of the television had been seeping out, playing more clearly now. There's a fucking closet. Eva-sama. Eva was face up on the bed. On the bed, there were shoes still on. Kumasawa, who had fearfully entered after Canon, who was hiding behind his back, screamed a short "Ee!" again after she saw Eva like that. Eva showed me the first part Canon sees, so the incognito of wearing shoes in bed was the first thing that entered his mind. After he shifted his line of sight towards Eva's head, Canon could help but let out a short scream like Kumasawa. Right in the middle of Eva's forehead, something was set there? Growing there? No. Right in the center of her head. An old-fashioned knife or some weapon like that was stuck right inside. From the base where it was stuck in, blood dripped down, staining the sheets on the other side bright red. Kumasawa's knees gave way once more, and she sank down on the floor. Her mouth kept flopping open and closed, and she couldn't even scream. Eva, with some kind of weapon sound for her head, was dead. Both eyes were wide open. The image of the person who killed her must have been burned into them. The mouth with which to speak the truth had already been internally sealed. Even though the forehead was the last place they wanted to look, they couldn't tear their eyes away. Right there, the weapon was stuck into Eva's forehead. The thing was perfectly upright. And on the handle was designed so complicated you never see it as an ordinary weapon. That thing could be summed up with the word of coat. It was a vulgar object with a design that might have been some demon. What about Hideyoshi-sama? Hideyoshi-sama! Eva was on top of her bed, but the other bed was empty. Where was Hideyoshi? Taking backwards Galaxy Kumasawa, still on her knees and stupefied, he checked the bathroom just in case. The moment he opened the door, he was greeted by steam and the sound of the shower. The room was of the same similar style as most hotel bathrooms, containing both a bath and a toilet. When taking a shower, a waterproof curtain was used to keep water from flying out. Oh, fuck! That waterproof curtain was half open. Lying tumbled down in the bathtub was Hideyoshi, completely naked, both eyes still open. And those eyes were pointing right at Canon. Just like Eva, a weapon with a demonic design was stuck in his forehead. His head had been under the hot water of the shower the whole time. His face wasn't half covered and filthy with blood like Eva's had been. But the sight of him dead while still taking a shower was tragic enough. Just then, Natsumi's voice rang through the hall. It was probably coming with Genji.
Again with the graffiti! What about this letter? What does it say inside?
I've not read it yet. Should touch it carelessly. Hubbard's fingers might be left on it. We should hand over the police. No other way to leave it here. I'm sure they would have left fingerprints. Saying this with finality, Natsumi picked up the envelope. In 4 seconds content, she handled it herself, when she found Eva dead. Eva-san! Madame, Hideyoshi-sama is here too. This is truly atrocious. Kennen, turn off the shower. Don't let this be any more pitiful than it needs to. Yes. Kennen gripped his handkerchief and twisted the valve, turning off the shower. The bathroom, a small bottle of body soap had fallen with its cap off. Looked like he'd been attacked right in the middle of taking a shower. The spray of blood still clung tightly to the white bathtub, and the combination of red and white made a horrible contrast. Dr. Nanjo. I understand. No signs of post-mortem lividity. Figure remorse hasn't begun either. Barely on the hours passed since they were killed at that. Not even so, however, with such an ordinary, you do that to the skull. I cannot imagine. You'd have to, like, fucking hold them down to do that kind of shit. Doctor checked their pulse and their fever, making sure in the deaths once more. Scan watched this business-like treatment, he thought. Is Ken dead too? Thankfully not. Can you tell a glance that they're dead without doing all that? Now just thought about removing the weapon. After deciding that where it would be possible to better hand the scene over to the police without disturbing it, they left it alone. However, a close examination revealed of the base revealed it was no blade. Rather, it wasn't shaped like a flat blade, like a conical. Notice that, rather than a knife, it was more like a short-handed spear, something with a shape better suited for thrusting than slicing. Rather than short spear, some might call it a thick ice pick. At any rate, the original hideous purpose which this weapon with its unsettling design was made. Exactly that purpose was carried out, were both displayed here in such glaring fashion there was absolutely no need for any further words to describe it. A dagger? It's a weird fucking dagger. It's like an ice pick, as I was saying. There's no sharp bit. There's no blade. It's just a point. Natsuki, hoping to escape the Rupopa's steam, filling the bathroom as soon as she could. Her mother handkerchief had dashed from the room. Just viewing their gruesome bodies for an instant had been enough to burn the image in her eyes. If she looked in her armor any longer, that image would surely remain in her vision for all of eternity. The rising urge of vomit was exactly the same feeling she'd had that morning in the gardening storehouse. For a while, Natsuki couldn't help but stand with her back facing the guest room, finding that sickness in her stomach. Anyway, can't let the kids... Can't let George couldn't see this room. Quickly, close this room up! Please no, should be shown to them. Son saw his parents in this bruised state. The reckless approaching footsteps were obviously George's even before he came flying into the room. George and the other children were waiting in the parlor. They had seen Genji call Natsuki out and noticed her turn pale and flat room, and feeling that he might have been the bearer of bad news. And when they saw a large group of people gather around the guest room, they were sure of it. Father! Mother! What is this? Another magic circle? Auntie Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi are safe, right? Hey, Kanekun! What's this all about? Valor-sama. Ken didn't have anything to say. George screamed after he ran into the room and told them everything they needed to know. Who did this? I'll kill you! I'll kill you! George-kun, hang in there, dear. Actually touched George's shoulder with her hand, but he finally shook her off. George collapsed to the floor beside Eva, buried his face in the bed in front of his mother's face, wailing. Then he pounded the bed with his fist over and over again. George! Nisa... Hang in there! Huh? Valor? Valor-sama. Valor had his back against the wall of the hallway, and was, without restraint, covering his eyes with his right hand and weeping. Horrible. That's horrible. Goes to the girl he loved and lost her the next day. The same day even his mom and dad were killed. That was way too damn harsh. Of course he felt sorry for everyone who had died. Valor felt far more sorry for those who had been left alone by the deaths of others. Everyone here now had lost someone close to them. George wasn't the only one he felt sorry for. However, George's pain was far greater than everyone else's. Battler? Sure, all people die sooner or later. You're human, the day's going to eventually come when you've got to fight the sorrow of losing someone close to you. Isn't that day be far in the future, Aniki? There's no such as him one at a time. Horrible. It's too horrible. Bastard! Bastard! Don't you have this life's been of human compassion? Don't cry. Everyone will come back and they go and land, right? Maria tried to comfort Valor in a mechanical sounding voice. Valor finally wiped his eyes. Damn it. I won't cry anymore. Because of regret, tears of sadness, I won't shed them again. Yeah. No goddamn good at all. The witch is backing us into a corner. We're always on the defensive. That's no good, it's no good, damn it! I'll flip over the chessboard. That bastard probably thinks of us like sheep. Cowering in fear to the moment with no way of running. But guess what? I'll flip it over. I've asked can't escape this island until tomorrow either. We won't be the ones finding a way pissing ourselves. That fucker will! I'm supposed to. You'll see. By tomorrow? No, forget tomorrow. Tonight! Before this night's over, I'll be gripping you by the collar. At any rate, we'll lock this room and leave everything as it is until the police come. All agreed. Natsuki proclaimed it as though she didn't care whether they agreed or not. If anyone had a right to object, it would have been George, but he looked as though he had shed enough tears. Still facing away from them, George nodded slightly and rose to his feet, and everyone else agreed in response. Natsuki still hadn't opened the head's Western-style envelope she had picked up. And since they would have all been leaving the room now, she decided she would unseal it in the parlor where everyone could watch. As soon as they walked out into the hallway to head back to the parlor, someone immediately felt something out of place. Maybe sensed something strange. Ew. Stinky. You noticed it too, Maria? What is this stench? It smells awful. As they all sniffed the air, they noticed a horribly foul, burnt smell. Okay, shouldn't be burnt though. Unlike anything any of them ever smelled before, drifting through the hallway. I will go quickly check the kitchen. Try to turn the flame off. After knowing the burnt smell was natural for Kumasawa, who had just been cooking the kitchen, suspecting their own clumsiness has caused it. Kumasawa hastily dashed away. Gun, go with Kumasawa. Don't let her be alone. Yes. After nodding at Genji's orders, Kanon went chasing after her. The others, although they did not run, also followed in order to search for the source of the smell. Ew! Stinky! It truly is. The stench makes the nose wrinkle. However, I'm not sure it would be safe to open a window for ventilation. Natsuki was lunged open the doors in a situation where self-defense was so important. Let us run the fan. I don't believe there will be any need to open the windows. George Aniki? Okay if I talk to you? Gotta find the killer and have no problems. Seeing that George already climbed out of the abyss of his sorrow. All that filled his chest now was a quiet flame of hatred towards the killer who had stolen the lives of his beloved parents. Chain for the room was set. Well, I could tell by looking at it, I'm positive they couldn't be opened from the outside. In other words, that means it was a perfect locked room. Yes, it does. In that case, the Rose Garden storehouse, they might have sneaked the shutter so as key out of the servant room. Maybe they had a good key. There's many ways they could have done it. This chain is different. Monks generally use locking techniques. The chain is the simplest one to create a locked room with.
チェーンだけは物理的に破壊しない限り外からはどうにもならないぜ。
Only chain will block everyone coming from the outside as long as it isn't physically broken.
じゃあつまり犯人は扉からは出入りしなかったってことなのか。
Does that mean the cupboard could have gone in or out through the door?
こりゃ面白いや。
That's interesting.
つい数時間
Your
も
always
前
going
に
to remember when making a fuss over how to get out of room without using the door.
みんなで騒いだ気がするぜ。
Back then, everyone had been making a fuss over how grandfather had disappeared from his room. There was a receipt that Auntie Eva had stuck in the room door on a whim. It was real the door had remained sealed. Since Aunt Natsuya had been the only person to enter or exit during that time, she had come under suspicion. Auntie Eva had proposed a theory about how Aunt Natsuya might have thrown grandfather out of the window and left by the door herself. This door is much simpler. It was sealed from the inside by the door chain. The window had also been closed from the inside, and the bodies had been in the room. This time it really was, without exaggeration, a true locked room. That's right. To include grandfather's disappearance, 3 accidents have occurred, and all 3 times the door has been the point of interest. The first with the shutter. There was a key in the server room, and if someone knew about that, this can't really be called a locked room. Next is his door sealed by the receipt. She could let grandfather out through the window or throw him out, and she would have been able to lock the window before leaving. Or, like my crazy theory, he could have hidden until the receipt was gone and left the room later. Basically, this door can be defeated with a handful of desperate tricks. In that sense, you really can't call this one a locked room either. Finally, we have to give up. The window, the door, everything had been locked from the inside. It was the perfect locked room. The first hadn't been a locked room because everyone could be suspected. The second had been a locked room because Aunt Nazi could be suspected. This time, no one can be suspected. This room was a perfect locked room, sealed by a door chain that denied access equally to everyone.
なら犯人は室内に入らずに
In that case, did the culprit carry out the crime without entering the room?
部屋の外から
Some method from outside the room?
確かに
A good thought.
チェーンである以
There's a
上
chain, so even though it can't be opened wide enough for a person to fit through, you can open it at a small
多少
crack.
の隙間を開けることができるノックして
The culprit could knock on the door to make them peer out before attacking them, or...
いや
Wait,
甘いか
is that too naive?
甘いよな
Yeah, it is.
エヴァおばさんの遺
And
体
he,
が扉
it
の
was
すぐ
Bottom
そ
and
ば
lying right next to the door, then it might have been plausible.
だが
She was on
エ
the
ヴァおば
bed
さ
in
ん
the
の部屋
center
の
of the
奥のベッドの
room.
上しかも
Uncle Hideyoshi was even in the
バスルーム
bathroom.
だったチェーンの隙間からでは
I mean, the
姿
crack
を
in
見
the
ることもできないし
door, you can't even see them, and you couldn't even reach them with your hands. Damn it, this is no good at all. I don't have any clue.
ダメだぜさっぱりだ
Someone was tugging softly in my sleeve. It was Maria.
おお
Ooh,
満足
satisfied? Demon child it is.
満足って
What do you mean satisfied? Demon child it is. Okay.
バトラは親族の誰かを
Since you didn't want to
疑う
doubt
のが
any of
嫌
your
だから
relatives, you made a
犯
wish,
人はベア
saying
ト
that
リ
you
ー
want
チ
a
であって
culprit to
ほ
be
しいと
Beatrice,
願ったよ
right?
だからベアトリー
Well,
チェは
Beatrice
叶え
granted your wish.
たバトラが言った
Just
通
she
り
said she did it in a way that no
絶
human
対
could,
に人
to
間
make
に
you
は
believe
無
in
理
the
なことを
witch.
してバトラに魔女の存在を信じさせてくれたなのにわがまま
Yet you're being stubborn. Ouch! I tapped Maria, who was laughing unpleasantly on her head with my fist.
ああ叶えてくれてありがとう
Thanks for
よ
granting it.
今のはその礼と
I was accepting my gratitude in a free lesson and not laughing at times
教
like
育的
this.
指導だそれより教え
More
上げ
importantly, tell me,
エヴァおばさんたちの部
there's
屋の
more
扉に
mysterious graffiti on the door to Auntie
また怪しげな
Eva and
動きが
Uncle
されていた
Hideyoshi's room.
あれもまた魔法陣
Was that another magic circle?
あれは特に
It was
覚えやすい
exceptionally memorable and
特徴的な形なんだから
So I
あ
hope
の
you
く
at
らい
least
知
know
ってて
that
ほし
one.
いね
知らねえから花を
I
戻
don't
してやって
know,
ん
that's why I
だ
handed the stage over to you.
ごちゃごちゃ言
Why
わね
didn't
え
you
で解
explain?
説しろい
バトラは暴力
You
的
sure
だね
are violent, Father.
あんまり意地
I
悪
don't tell
す
you
ると
what you mean.
教えないよ
Get it?
あいた言うよこの金髪男
Oh, say it, you brutish man.
あれは
That's the first magic of Circle of the Moon.
何の意味がある
What does it mean?
その魔法陣のご
What
利
is
益
this magic circle's benefit?
書かれてるヘブライ語の意
What
味
does the
が
Hebrew writing mean?
記されているのは旧
The
約
words
聖
are
書
from the Old
詩編第
Testament,
107編の
107 verse 16.
主は聖
For
堂
he
の
has broken the
扉を
gates of
破り
brass and cut through the
鉄の
bars of
管垣を
iron.
打ち破ってくださいました魔法陣の効用は2つ
This magic circle has two effects.
一つは
First, you can open
いか
any
なる方
door
法によって
regardless of
閉
the
ざ
method
さ
used
れ
to
た
lock
扉
it.
でも開くことができる
そりゃ便利な魔法だ
Sure is convenient magic. Their witches are claiming this to be a door that can't be opened without
魔法
relying on
の
the
力に
power
頼
of
らな
magic.
きゃ開けぬ密室の扉っていうもう一つの効用は
And the other effect?
開かぬ
It
扉を
takes the unopening door as representation of an untenable situation
扉を
and opens
開
it.
く難解な
By
事
using
態の
it
時に
in a
用いる
difficult
こと
situation,
でそれまで
it gives
思
you
いつきも
a
し
solution
な
you
かっ
hadn't
た
even
解
thought of
決
until
策を
then.
与えてくれるんだよ Put simply, it grants the powers of observation, discernment, inspiration, and intuition.
授けてくれるんだね。ベアトリーチェはバトラごとき人間風情にこの扉の開き方がわかるものかって挑発してるんだよ。
Beatrice is trying to provoke you lowly humans, and she thinks there's no way you could even understand how this door was opened. Ouch!
Alright, good work. Now shut up. This will be fine. I accept that witch's challenge.
その魔女の挑戦受け
マリアちゃん
Maria-chan?
この世に魔
Looks
女
like
も
witches
悪魔も
demons don't
存
exist
在
in
し
this world.
父さんと母さんは誰かが殺した
Someone killed father and mother.
それが僕
I
の
don't know
よ
whether
く知
that
る
was
人
someone I
間
know
な
or
のか
not.
知らない人間なのかはわからないでも
But either way, it was
その
definitely a
どちらで
human.
あっても必ず人間なんだ
しかし
Yeah, but
どうやって
how?
せいぜい
How
10
did
セ
they
ンチ
reach
程度し
through
か開
them
か
through
な
the
い扉
crack in
の
the door
隙
that
間
couldn't
か
have
ら
been more than 10
どうやって
centimeters
室内に2
wide?
人を
それにしても
At
耐
any
え
rate,
難い匂い
I
で
can only
す
stand the stench. What the world could it be? Ken and Kumasawa, who had gone ahead and realized before they even reached the kitchen that the smell wasn't coming from there. That was because on their way to the kitchen, they noticed that an even thicker wave of stench was rising up from the stairs leading to the basement.
ボイラー室
The boiler room.
またボイラーの調子
I
が
wonder
悪
if
い
there's something
ん
wrong
です
with the boiler again. Those stairs led to the underground boiler room. The mansion's boiler was old and had been playing up recently. Both of them had witnessed problems with the boiler on several occasions, but they never smelled it belching out a stench like this before. Slam.
今の音は
Oh, that sound! The sound they heard from this had definitely been the sound of a door closing. Although she did phrase it as a question, Kumasawa too had realized the sound couldn't have been anything else. Kumasawa was so surprised at the sound that her knees gave way yet again. She cowered. Because at that very moment, no one could have been in the boiler room. Just a few seconds ago, everyone had crowded around together in Eva and Hideyashi's room. This who caused the sound of a door closing just now.
カノンさん
Kanan-san! Instantly gathering the situation, Kanan ran down towards the basement. Since they heard the sound of the door closing just now, there's no trace of someone climbing the stairs. It meant the person who had closed the door was down inside the boiler room. The room had been dead and Kanan would have rushed in so hastily. Kanan was concerned, so she knew. There were two entrances, one that opened to the mansion, one that opened to the courtyard. So if he didn't chase them now, they might slip away. Kumasawa reached the same conclusion long after Kanan did. She shouldn't let him go alone. The thing in the boiler room was secure with her. Pony could easily kill 6 adults in the first murder. The Kanan would be no match if he simply confronted them alone. Of course, by this argument, Kumasawa joining him alone wouldn't mean anything, but at any rate, after the leg, Kumasawa decided she mustn't let Kanan go alone, and she dashed down the stairs. At that time, Kanan was already in the boiler room. The boiler room's characteristic damp heat tormented him. It had always been an unpleasant, smelly, and hot place. On top of that, room was full of that horrible stench, which made Kanan feel like he was going to be this. There's doubt this room was the origin. In that case, Kanan should have been searching for where the smell was coming from. However, Kanan kept gazing forward as he grabbed a hatchet from a tool shelf just off the side of the door. Kanan stretched out his hand because he wanted a hatchet, and wanted to grab a weapon, any weapon. Kanan gazed in darkness where the naked light bulb couldn't pierce. Then he answered.
ルーレットは数字と赤
In
黒にか
roulette,
けて
you bet a
配
number
当を
of
競
the
いだ
colors, red or black, vying for a payoff.
だが
However, lower specs like red or black
Aka-kuro-ka-yo.
only offer a similarly low
リス
payoff.
クの低い賭けは
Words coming from Ken's mouth were swallowed up by the darkness. Darkness suddenly started to swirl, glittering. It was a very fantastical scene. Golden sparkling butterflies had hidden the shadows all over the boiler room, flapped their wings, swinging beautifully, and disappeared in the darkness, gathering together. Ken continued speaking, dragging his words to the darkness as it swallowed the butterflies up. As those sides gathered up in the darkness, they they must have laughed. You can't continue to speak without faltering in the slightest. On the other hand, if you bet on something with a lower probability, you receive a payoff proportional to the risk. Master called to succeeding despite an astronomical risk, a miracle. He called the astronomical payoff gained as a result of magic. I have no interest in what kind of magic you and the master were seeking when you spun that roulette. But you forgot something. You forgot that roulette has a pocket that is neither red nor black. Roulette had a special pocket called zero, which means the house takes everything in certain variants of the game. Meaning that all the coins found on the table will be swept up, just as though everyone had to forfeit. I set my heart on one thing. That if Shannon were to be killed and I were left alive, I ring this roulette of yours to ruin, even at the cost of my life. This isn't one of the master's rules, and certainly isn't one of yours. I made this rule myself. I'm not furniture anymore. I'm the zero of your roulette. Ken's face twisted with humiliation. His fear had been dealt ridicule in response to his self-denial. Ken's brow creased further, and a furious expression he had never shown anyone appeared on his face. The hand grasped the hatchet was shaking. His sweat became drops which slid down. Just because his emotion causing Ken's hand to shake was not anger alone. However, Ken suppressed that emotion. This is where the demon's roulette ends. Wait another 1,000 years in hell for your next summoner. Beatrice! When Ken swung the hatchet upwards and tried to dive in the darkness definitely sneered. Sneered the courage at vulgar, lazy, futile, and meaningless. Cannon, his hatchet still held aloft. Couldn't take another step after that. The clang, hatchet that Cannon had been grasping fell and rolled on the floor. And following that with a pair of thuds, Cannon's knees hit left, then right. That hand, which looked like it was trying to catch the sky now that the hatchet had been dropped, gradually lowered, rested on his chest. Then the other hand did the same. Right there was a handle with a demon-shaped design engraved in it. Same way a weapon that had been stabbed into Eva and Hideyashi's foreheads was in Ken's chest. Its fresh blood drove in the corner of Ken's mouth as it twisted in anguish. It was makeup too powerful for Ken's white skin. Around this scene, the glittering gold butterflies danced mesmerizingly through the darkness. It was a beautiful, beautiful dance. A few marks of tribute, ridicule, and a contempt for a single boy's self-sacrifice. Ken had already been prepared for his own death. But he attempted one last measure of resistance to reject death in at least the form it had been delivered to him. With both hands, he grasped the handle of the weapon sinking into his chest, and gritting his teeth at the acute, unearthly pain. He pulled it out. For only a moment, a bright red spray gushed out. It made an unpleasant bloop sound. Probably resembled the sound of Cannon's soul as it was sucked into the swamp of the dead.
Cannon-san!
Cannon-san! Kumasawa screamed at the incomprehensible sight in front of her. Ken was lying in a pool of blood. Kumasawa's heart was a complete mess. Ah, what a terrible fate. He would have been killed if I had been with him. Ah, what an incredible fortune. If I had been with him, I might have been killed too. As her gamer expression filled with complete confusion, all the muscles of her face were pulled up, all as if she was smiling or crying. No one could have made fun of an expression as this. What is it, Kumasawa? Answer me, Kumasawa! The first one to dash in was Nachi, with rifle at the ready. Valor and Genji gasped in after her. Normally, they probably would have started discussing the origin of the possible of that violent stench filling the boiler room. However, they saw Ken, who was lying on the ground as if he were drowning in an ocean of his own blood. The stench wasn't important anymore. Cannon! Answer me! Genji, bring Dr. Naruto here! Nachi realized even though Ken was on the verge of death, he was still conscious, so he sent Genji to get the doctor. Nachi, holding the rifle aloft, faced it on at the center of the boiler room and shouted, "Who is hiding over there? Come out quietly! If you don't come out from there, I'll shoot without mercy!" A flashlight! Andy, let's light him up! To get better, thinking quickly, they took a large flashlight from tool shelf along the door and used a light to cut through the darkness Nachi was going into. The light only shone a mechanical-looking piping and a door. The door had been left open to a small crack. It was obvious that someone had left through there in a hurry. Aunt Nachi, where's that door go? Genji, where's the door lead to? The courtyard. Like, how did you get away, you damn bastard! Now let a war cry, he slammed in the door. Cold air from outside suddenly rushed in. There's some thin, rough stairs leading up. Valor ran up them, shouting, "Wait, Valor-kun! Jesus, don't be alone!" Nachi also rushed up the stairs, chasing after Valor. At the top was the courtyard. The courtyard of the mansion had been built strictly for lighting purposes, so it wasn't a very elegant place. As it was surrounded on all sides, the air was calm, completely undisturbed, even though they could hear the sound of strong winds. There was only the gentle, sorrowful rain. Through the cold, scattered raindrops, Valor dashed up the stairs into the courtyard, where he looked in every direction. Of course, the odds of him finding a suspicious silhouette just standing around nonchalantly were pretty much zero. Valor turned around, looking in all directions, then turned again and again. He kept saying till he almost lost sense of direction. He prayed that he would see the cupboard somewhere in the scenery, but there was no chance. All I saw at this point was more and more of the mansion's heartless walls and windows. Furthermore, there was 2 entrances in the mansion of the courtyard, and neither of them were locked. As the courtyard couldn't be entered from the outside of the mansion, the doors had been built without locks. You couldn't tell which one they had left through. Had to give up. Valor pounded the wall with his fist, swearing, "Valor-kun, you mustn't run by yourself." Valor-kun? Valor pushed his head against the wall and scratched out with his fingernails as he cried. Shit! 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 Auntie Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi! And how Cannon-kun too? You killed 6 whole people! And that was enough, so you killed 3 more! Fuck you! Fuck you! Auntie Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi were always fun and kind to us! I just met Cannon-kun yesterday, but I'm sure I could get that and get along fine with them! Why did you kill them? Why? Why? When people die, they will come back to life again, you know? I'm gonna sprout again like bamboo shoots! Why would you kill them? Why? Why? Valor was a boy who could understand the feelings of pain and regret in a person's heart. So he cried, all his strength. Naturally, I always thought Valor was a strong person. He was also surprised that he had this delicate side. At the same time, understood how easily hurt the heart of a young person could be. So she held him. It's all right. I will definitely protect you, George-kun, Maria-chan, and Jessica. As a mother, as a representative of the Ushiromiya family. Valor, after sobbing Natsui's chest for a while, wiped his tears with a bitter smile and tried to convey that he had cried more than enough already, just as he had done the times before. Anyway, let's go back down for now. Putting ourselves a higher priority than finding the culprit. Tomorrow, the boat will arrive. If that happens, the police will come and everything should be brought to light. There's no way to kill you except decide. You will obviously struggle. Right. When the police come, and the seagulls cry, crime will be solved. But for some reason, Valor felt a slight size of uneasiness, as if the seagulls would never cry again. That couldn't be true. The time being passes, lively seagulls should return to the harbor again. I returned to the boiler room along with Aunt Natsui and told the room weekly that we hadn't found anything. They told me that Nanjo and George Anaki had carried Ken-kun to the servant room. The servant room had a first aid kit in the sink and could apparently function as a nurse's office. Kumasawa-san and Jessica had accompanied them. Stains of Ken's blood remained on the floor. There's been a large amount of blood lost in the ruthless shape of the weapon that had fallen unceremoniously to the ground. I feared that Dr. Nanjo's treatment would probably end in vain. It was doubtless the same type that had been stuck in Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyashi's forehead. Wait, isn't that dramatic design of the handle a little different? There seemed to be small differences in that part. So as far as the overall shape was concerned, the weapons were all of the same type. Although it had been brutal, we'd left the weapons stuck into Auntie Eva and Uncle Hideyashi's to preserve the crime scene. So this was the first time I was able to have the perfect view of the entire weapon. Indeed, the weapon was not blade length, but shaped like an ice pick, or rather a thin stake. And also, it had a spiral-shaped design, sort of like a drill. Use a disturbing analogy, it looked like something that might be driven into the hearts of human sacrifices in some demonic ritual. Including the handle was about 25 centimeters long. Half of that was a stake-shaped part, which was stained with deep red blood. The length of the blood-stained part made it clear just how deeply it must have penetrated into Ken-kun's chest. But Aunt Natsu and the rest were not even looking at the weapon, instead standing in front of the incinerator where the horrible stench was emanating from. They probably pulled that out of the furnace where it must have been burning. Still smoldering kept sending out dense waves of that awfully unpleasant smell. Genji-san and Maria were staring down at it. Natsu probably couldn't even look directly at it. She kept shaking her head back and forth at it. You thought he'd seen everything that could have happened. Nothing could surprise me anymore, but this was... I stood there while moaning with a rising urge to vomit. The true nature of that unfamiliar stench was the charred smell from within this incinerator of a burning corpse. Clothes to serve the body and the hair were all hideously burned. That congested corpse was a state where not the face, nor the gender, nor even the age could be guessed at. And when I thought about it, I realized no corpse appearing at this time could only be one person. Grandfather. He disappeared that morning, whose whereabouts had been unknown. I believe it was most likely the Masters. I agree that he would pass away in such a state. How heartrending. But is there any proof that this corpse really is grandfather? Heart's so black, you can't even see what sex it is. Alakun, look at the feet. Anachi, with her hand geared straight up her mouth and her eyes averted, pointed and told me to look at the burnt corpse's feet. The toes on both feet. Look closely. Huh? You're right. As Genji had said, there were 6 toes on each foot. Each toes had been reached so normally that I wouldn't have noticed. Those are these uniquely characteristic toes since birth. Consequently, Master showed the revival of the Ushiromiya family. Remember that since long ago, Cases of polydactyl were common in the Ushiromiya family. It's probably hereditary. Polydactyl literally means many fingers. Because of a little mistake by God when the person is born, one of their toes or fingers split into two and the toe number increases. The big deal isn't usually made up polydactyl in the world at large. That's because it isn't a disease, it's something people are born with. The hospital is already aware of it when they are still babies, and about the time they turn 1 year old, they are given surgery to make them normal. So if a child has polydactyl, it is treated before they become self-aware, so they might not even remember it themselves. Incidentally, it seems that it can occur with a probability of about 1 in every 2,000 babies. Even though it's not usually seen, it isn't rare at all. In which I think Uncle Hideyoshi mentioned something to me long ago. Not how even Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the man who had unified Japan at the end of the Sengoku period, possessed fingers on one hand. Turning out not to, among the many Ushiromiya family heads, the ones who praised most for their wisdom had all possessed polydactyl. Because when grandfather was born, his relatives were all excited and thought he might become another wise leader. And when the living relatives all died in the Great Kanto earthquake, it was apparently argued that if anyone could restore the family from that, it would be grandfather, because the auspicious sign of his birth. Grandfather thought being the head was not a bad gig. The 6-0 must have been pretty lucky for him. I think good. I've heard that about some countries where it's believed that people with polydactyl should be treated as gods and revered. This is the point, but it's very common in mystery novels for a corpse to be burned to hide whose body it is. But like in grandfather's case, just being toasted wasn't enough to hide proof of his identity. Grandfather's body was not simply burnt. It was like Auntie Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi and Canon Kun, who had been stabbed in the chest. Canon Kun too, who had been stabbed in his chest. He had one of those demon ice picks stuck into his forehead. That ring is not on his finger. So everything is as the letter last night said. Father, be horribly disappointed. And Nachi let her head droop and close her eyes tightly. This room had become a vital crime scene for us to hand over to the police. Decided that we'd leave grandfather's corpse here and lock the room, sealing it. It wasn't clear when grandfather's corpse started burning in the incinerator. And according to Genji, the things haven't been that strong. The body must have started burning a long time ago. As such, it slowly crept out of the furnace and filled the room bit by bit, finished pouring out and climbing up the staircase. Trying to decide whether it was rare or well down, grandfather had been brought out, killed, and burned. Even though he started out in the locked room created by his auto lock. There's probably no doubting this. According to Genji, the boiler room is usually locked. Probably that someone outside our group was lurking around committing crimes was now overwhelmingly high. There's also a good chance that the person was walking around with something like a master key. After all, the doors and windows of the mansion had been checked. Despite that, the cupboard was freely strutting around the mansion.